Hello everyone. Many people dream of having the impressive muscles of Arnold Schwarzenegger. Some people spend days and nights in the gym trying to achieve this, while others edit their pictures.
Check this out.
But the worst are those who venture into dubious experiments. Today, we're going to talk about these risky people. At some points, they started using medication that increases muscle mass, but have a negative impact on their health. Sometimes such experiments with the body can end tragically. Sadly, the risk doesn't stop those who want to get huge muscles without any effort. Want to see them? Then let's get it on. Roario Alves. When Roario Alves from Brazil signed up for the gym, he was just planning on building some muscle and couldn't imagine what his life would be like. 6 months later, systematic weight gain training and powerlifting changed Roario's body shape. However, he didn't find the results to be significant. He saw some really big dudes with huge biceps in the gym, and they told Alves about synthol, a substance made up of fat and painkillers. The substance is injected deep into the muscle and spreads between the ligaments of the muscle fibers. The bigger the fat mass, the larger the muscle grows. But only about 30% of the product is absorbed by the body. The other 70% remains in the muscles for about 3 to 5 years and decomposes very slowly. Overall, it doesn't do your body any good, not to mention the possible damage to the nerves and other complications. The first injections of this oil-based muscle growth substance had a visible effect on the development of Roario's body. The man's back and biceps began to grow disproportionately, but he just could not stop. Every new injection made his muscles harder and harder. The substance inside the muscles turned into rocks, which, like growths, spread to the arms and shoulders. Roario didn't look good, and he even scared children. He became depressed, almost lost his beloved one, and his arms. The regular injections in his muscles triggered irreversible processes, and the doctors feared that it would lead to amputation. Fortunately, removing the synthol deposits in the muscles was enough. After the surgery, the doctor strictly prohibited the man from taking the substance. Following the doctor's advice, Alves stopped abusing synthol in 2013. Suroor Sultan. According to this guy's Facebook page, he was born and raised in Abu Dhabi. He owns his own gym and just loves sports, including bodybuilding, of course. He has a degree in psychology and calls himself an animal advocate. He loves cats and considers himself a very, very good guy. Well, you know, a person who doesn't go to clubs, doesn't drink, and doesn't have any bad habits at all. But we kind of find it hard to believe that, looking at Suroor's muscles. Maybe he really prefers to spend his time at home, curled up with a book and his 3 cats, but it's unlikely that the guy grew his muscle mass without using special products. Of course, Suroor must have done a lot of hard work and decided to help his muscles just a little bit, and, well, this happened. Valdir Segato. Usually pretty young guys are the ones who want some artificial muscles, but it appears that some older guys are into it as well. Valdir Segato, who is over 50 years old, has been using synthol injections for many years, despite the risk of strokes and infections. This bodybuilder from Sao Paulo was inspired by Arnold Schwarzenegger and some fictional characters, such as the Hulk. He is genuinely proud of being called a monster. 3 years ago, Segato was warned that he was facing amputation, but he was not afraid of muscle injuries. Moreover, the man posts pictures and videos on social media and proudly calls himself Valdir Synthol on Instagram. That's because Segato was very skinny in his youth. To change his life, the aspiring bodybuilder enrolled in a gym, where someone encouraged him to use synthol in order to grow his muscles, and he couldn't stop. Justin Jedlica. Justin looks like a human doll, and it's no surprise. Almost his entire body is the result of the work of plastic surgeons. During his life, the 39-year-old American has undergone more than 700 surgeries. We can't even begin to imagine how much they all cost, and all because he always considered plastic surgery a symbol of a rich, glamorous lifestyle and sought to follow it. After his first surgery, which was a rhinoplasty, Justin didn't want to stop. He wanted a perfect body. When Justin had silicone implants put into his chest, they attracted too much attention. His biceps and triceps looked pathetic against the background of his pumped-up pecs. Any person would think about going to the gym, but what if there was another solution? Soon the issue was taken care of. With the help of a few $1,000s, he paid for other implants. Mustafa Ismail. It's not always possible to prove that a person has used any substances to increase muscle mass. An excellent example is Mustafa Ismail. Looking at his hands, we can't believe such a result can be achieved by training and dieting alone, because these muscles are huge. The human body shouldn't have such a shape. It's not natural. Nevertheless, Ismail is the holder of a Guinness Book record for having the largest biceps. When this information was made public, people were outraged. Since when do people who use artificial substances to increase muscles enter the Book of Records? The scandal was so big that Ismail went to Japan and underwent a full-scale medical examination to prove that his muscles were real. Based on the results of the tests, which consisted of a full-body MRI and an ultrasound scan of his shoulders, the doctors concluded that there were no traces of implants or illegal substances in Ismail's body. Although nobody knows what kind of clinic it was and what kind of doctors conducted the examination. Anyway, it's a confusing story. Although the record is still in the Guinness Book, people continue to doubt its authenticity. By the way, the athlete admits that he relied on growth hormones and testosterone boosters at the beginning of his career. However, he claims his current form is the result of a diet containing of 3,000 grams of protein per day. Apparently, they're all absorbed by his biceps. Jorge Kawagi.
Jorge Kawagi.
Mexican businessman and politician Jorge Kawagi is a very peculiar case in the history of boxing. But not because he's a cool athlete. One glance at Jorge is enough to see that he looks like a doll. Indeed, Jorge has implants in his chest and biceps, and has undergone numerous plastic surgeries on his face. That's right, all of his muscles are fake. In addition, fans of boxing and specialized Mexican media are sure that every fight the businessman took part in was staged. Jorge himself says that he started boxing at the age of 8, but when you see him in action, it's clear that something's not quite right. During his amateur career, Jorge allegedly fought 43 fights without defeat, 38 of which ended with knockouts. But he didn't stop there, and at the age of 33, Jorge decided to switch to the professional league, and he also started to win, time after time. Although Jorge mostly fought against unknown fighters, but it's all just a coincidence, isn't it? Greg Valentino. Like in any other sport, there are stars in bodybuilding, and there are people who are not so popular, to put it mildly. One of them is Greg Valentino. He is accused of creating a bad image for bodybuilding because of fraud, stupidity, anti-propaganda, and many other sins, and all because Valentino resorted to the use of illegal substances. Greg is one of the few bodybuilders who never wanted to have a professional sports career. Initially, bodybuilding was a way for him to get rid of teenage insecurities. Gradually, he became so interested in sports that he spent all of his time in the gym pumping iron. At the age of 16, he could boast of powerful hands with a circumference of 49 centimeters. Over a 10-year period, he managed to grow his biceps to 53 centimeters, but that was not enough for Greg. One day, a friend saw Greg's amazing results and recommended to increase muscle mass by adding the right medication. At first, Greg used only vitamins, but soon added anabolics and different injections. From a good-looking athlete, he began to turn into a real monster with bulgy hands. Uncontrolled injections led to a terrible abscess on the biceps too. Arindo Daza. Arindo Daza lives in the Brazilian municipality of Olinda. He's 48 years old and has long been a bodybuilder. For some time, the man honestly tried to build muscle mass using traditional methods. Arindo always knew that medications can be very dangerous, but bodybuilding always means tough competition, so he decided to take a risk. The effect really turned out to be astonishing. Remembering his first injection a couple of years ago, Arindo says that he felt a little dizzy and a little pain, but nothing terrible happened. Instead, his muscles grew like crazy, so the bodybuilder decided to continue. However, there was also a side effect. fact. As it always happens, the bulges of artificially increased muscles remain on the body constantly, even when the body is relaxed. But Arindo didn't care. This new way of muscle building was a godsend to him. However, he did see information about the abscesses that can form in the muscles, and the fact that he could even lose his hands. But these horror stories always seem to be something fictional and unreal, because these terrible things always happen to someone else. Unfortunately, something irreparable happens soon. One of Alindo's friends died after a series of dangerous injections. It was a huge shock for the bodybuilder, so he decided to harness his willpower and stop. By the way, Arindo didn't stop working out when he did the injections. He just kept his old routine, and adding medications only made the result more effective and faster. But the local medics consulted by Arindo refused to help him in any way. They were afraid of taking such responsibility. So the man has to keep himself in shape without any injections and hope for the best. He's become a real star among the locals, and despite his strange appearance, is popular with the ladies. Psst, dude, are you looking for new technologies and great gadgets? Are your thoughts focused on the future? Do you love huge vehicles and can't imagine your life without robots around you? Then visit TechZone and you'll find all this and more. The link is in the description. You interested? Great.